Welcome to Newton's Macabre Tales. To find more free short stories, visit www.newtonwebb.com with 2 B's. Hunted by Newton Webb. The forest canopy was alive with the crashing cacophony of rain. The leaves were pounded as if by an army of drummers. Through this emerald green orchestra, Robin stalked his prey. A band of the sheriff's men. From the top of an old oak, he'd watched as they shot a poacher and killed 2 of his hunting hounds. He hadn't been able to intervene until he'd ascertained their numbers. They now pursued the last of the poacher's pack. With a crossbow bolt in its hip, the dog wouldn't get far. Robin loped after them in a mile-eating run. The hoots and roars of triumph indicated that the prey had been cornered. Slowing as he came into view, Robin lifted his cap and pulled a waxed bowstring from behind his ear. He strung his longbow. Lifting the leather hood off his quiver, he pulled 3 arrows clear and stuck them point first in the mud. As the soldiers catcalled the hound, they surrounded it, their shields up, and their blades licking out to leave ruby-red wounds. The dog yelped and snarled as the blades tore at his flesh. The men were toying with their prey. Plucking the first arrow, Robin knocked and drew. The muscles across his back tightened in a familiar strain. Laughter filled the forest as the sergeant mocked the wounded hound. Laughter turned to burbling as blood gushed from his throat. He collapsed to the floor as he desperately tried to staunch the wound with his mailed gauntlets. His last sight was being held eye to eye by the vengeful dog as it pounced. As the others turned, a second arrow took one of the hunters in the heart. Robin loosed his final arrow as the third hunter wisely decided to run. Even as the arrow left the bow, he knew it was a killing blow. Walking forward, Robin saw the confused dog back away snarling. He was in a bad way, bleeding from several wounds. Divesting the soldiers of their coin, Robin tossed down some hardtack and even a precious strip of dried venison. "Come on, then." He slapped his thigh to summon the animal, who responded by growling even louder. "All right, then, if you insist." Robin bowed solemnly and walked back to his cave. That evening, as he sat back by the fire, consuming birch wine, he saw a familiar face. The dog had returned. It growled at him, even as it swayed, looking dead on its feet. "Come on, then." Robin tossed another strip of venison next to the fire. The dog made it halfway before collapsing. Sighing, Robin pulled out a needle of thread, and looking at the dying dog, he got to work. In the middle of the night, he woke to find the dog had crawled closer to him. He smiled. At sunrise, he got up to go hunting. As he approached the dog, it growled again, but this time, it wagged its tail. "I think we're beyond that." He paused to think. "Hern." Tossing down some more hardtack, he turned to go hunting. The dog lumbered up to join him, its stitches bulging. Robin realized that Hern would kill himself if he followed him, as he was undoubtedly determined to do. Fine. He spent the day fletching arrows and sorting his feather collection into piles based on shape and size. 3 days. That was how long he would give Hern to heal. Then Robin would need to hunt. After that, Hern would just have to do his best to go easy on the stitches. It was on the 3rd day that he heard them. They must have found his scent. He'd stayed too long in one place. Stringing his bow, he crept out of his cave. Hern pushed himself up and staggered towards him, licking his palm. He couldn't let Hern come with him, much as he wanted to. He was in no shape to fight. If he tied him up and didn't return, he would die. There was only one option. Picking up a stone, Robin hefted it, before hurling it at Hern. "Get out of here!" Go on! Hearn yelped, his eyes wide. Then he growled. Robin walked away, tossing another stone, as Hearn followed. Go! Get gone! It took 3 stones in total before the dog whined and left through the trees, his tail low. As he banked up the fire into a roaring blaze, no amount of reasoning could make Robin feel good about what he'd just done. Instead, he locked away his feelings and focused on the matter at hand. The hunters knew their work. They spread out in a large fan as they surrounded the cave. Unlike them, their leader, Guy of Gisborne, was not looking at the cave. He knew a trap when he saw one, and he had harried this particular quarry for a long time. As he scanned the treetops, he licked his lips with anticipation. Summoning 2 of his soldiers, he pointed at the cave. Let's end this farce. They looked at him dubiously. A gold sovereign for the man who brings me his head. That did it. As they advanced slowly, he kept one eye on them and another scanned the surrounding area. Come on. Where's your trap, you fox? As they approached the fire, the men paused. Then with a bellowed war cry, they disappeared around the sides and into the cave. A long, pregnant pause followed. And despite his best intentions, he watched the cave enthralled, his hand clasping the hilt of his sword nervously. Moments later, the 2 soldiers emerged shrugging. Sighing, he looked around. Hunters! Search for tracks. He's nearby. I can sense it. Silence. He shouted again, and a feathered shaft lodged in the throat of one of his soldiers. Sir Guy soon saw that the bodies of his men, some with arrows sprouting from them, others with their throats slit. The sole remaining survivor of his band charged, with him in the direction of the shafts. His shield slammed with an almighty impact. He swore as an arrowhead penetrated it by a full inch directly at eye level. To his left, he heard a scream. Sweat ran down his back. The iron of his mail shirt reeked of blood. He was alone. Bursting into a clearing, he was confronted by the accursed wolf's head, Robin of Sherwood, the forest baron, the outlaw, the pagan. As he saw the empty quiver, a grim smile crossed his face. No more tricks from you, rebel. He blew a horn from his belt and threw it to the ground. Robin had his sword out and was standing patiently, watching and waiting beside a giant oak. You've nowhere to run to, Robin. More of my men will be coming. You can't escape. Sir Guy drew his blade, a longsword of Damascus steel. His opponent faced him with weary resignation. Sidestepping, he tossed his damaged shield to one side, shifting to a 2-handed grip on his weapon. Sir Guy's sword swished in the air as he ran through a pattern to loosen his muscle. Your stance is too narrow. You'll overbalance. I thought they trained you better in the Holy Land. Moving closer, Robin suddenly leapt forward, his blade licking out. Sir Guy blocked and riposted, drawing blood from Robin's forearm. Sloppy footwork. Were you taught by anyone, or did you learn by bashing sticks together in the woods? Sir Guy easily parried a series of swift strikes. He was enjoying himself. His blade lashed out and caught Robin just above the eye. I, of course, was taught by Raven Dionston. Father summoned him from the Kingdom of Arles. He took a step back, waiting for the cut to leak into Robin's eyes. On cue, Robin blinked rapidly as the thick fluid blinded him. It's time to end this farce. As Sir Guy began raining blows in a last assault, a battering ram of fur launched itself from the bushes into the back of his leg, causing him to drop to one knee. The dog's ravening jaws tore his hamstring open. Sir Guy drew his knife and stabbed blindly behind him in a desperate attempt to rid himself of the animal. The beast, having crippled him, was trying to jump onto his back and sink its jaws into his neck. He heard the dog whimper as his blade struck true, not once, but twice. A sound caused him to look back. With horror, he saw Robin's sword glittering in the morning sun. Robin watched the dying form of Sir Guy collapse to the floor. 2 more swipes of the sword saw his head leave his body and roll across the forest floor. Herne lay on the floor, whining softly. His tail went thud, 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 throwing up leaves from the soft loam. "You idiot. I told you to go away." Kneeling down beside Herne, Robin's hand received a lick. Why did I bother with all those stitches, eh? They'd burst from his fierce fighting, and he now bled openly. A weaker thud from Herne's tail led Robin to scratch him fondly behind his ear. "I don't know where you'll go after this, but I hope there will be plenty of rabbits for you." Robin gently stroked Herne's fur until his breathing stopped. "Thank you, friend. You are, and always will be, a good dog." This podcast episode is dedicated to Duke. We lost him on the 24th of September, 2021. Rest in peace, buddy. Thank you for listening. To get notified every time a new episode is released, please click follow or subscribe and turn on all notifications. If you enjoyed this episode, then please take a moment to rate Newton's Macabre Tales. Reviewing allows the podcast to grow.